So, they've finally been recruited. In the new season of Rainbow Six Siege, known as New Blood, it brings in two familiar operators, finally recruited as full-time members of Rainbow. Striker and Sentry replaces the recruits, and while it's a rework, it's more of a colossal nerf. Their special ability they bring into the fight is a mix and match of any secondary gadget, where the old recruit had two separate pools of secondary and primary gadgets, so this change allows different combinations that was previously unavailable to them, like the fabled EMP impact in Hard Breach, plus Nitro and Impact in Defense. Striker and Sentry are still two armors and still two speeds, just like the old recruit. The first big issue is their loadouts. They're significantly worse than the current recruit and limits creativity in loadouts. It makes the two new operators worse than the current recruits. So let's talk about what's changed. On attack, the old recruit had access to the L85A2, which is Sledge's AR, but each gun had non-customizable attachments. So Sledge's AR had the Hollow A, the vertical grip, and a flash hider. They also had access to the MK14 EBR, which is Dokubi's marksman rifle, with telescopic B, vertical grip again, and muzzle brake. And finally the M249, Captel's LNG, with reflex A, a vertical grip again, and a compensator, with the secondaries being the P12, the Super Shorty, and the C75 Auto. Now, the new attack recruit striker instead has access to these weapons with full attachment customization. Maverick M4, they still have access to the M249, but now with no marksman rifle, with their secondaries being the 5.7 USG, which is the American handgun, and the ETA 12S, which is Mira's secondary shotgun, or Jackal's. He's too banned now to remember that. Striker has the better loadouts of the two, for even though it limits was previously available, it doesn't change other weapons for anything that horrific. Now, the M4, whilst being a slight downgrade for L8, still has, decent stats, and we still have access to soft destruction with a second shotgun. For an operator all about flexibility, taking away a weapon and changing it for slightly weaker guns makes no sense. But this becomes more apparent with Defense Recruit, Sentry. Now, old Defense Recruit had an amazing loadout. They had access to the M870, which is the German shotgun, with a Reflex A, the MP5K, which is Mute's primary SMG, with a Hollow A and Flash Hider, with their secondaries being the SMG-11 and the P9. Now they've butchered this legendary loadout, a loadout that was able to run both primaries somewhat efficiently, and the SMG-11. But the new loadout that Sentry has includes the the M870, just like the old recruit. Instead of the MP5K, they gave him a Commando 9, which is Monty's AR, with the secondaries being the Super Shorty and the C75 Auto. At first glance, it doesn't seem too much of a downgrade, even though you can't have access to SMG-11, but you now can run the Super Shorty in the Commando for the primary instead of the M870 and the SMG-11. You have to remember that if they kept the MP5K, it would have gotten ACOG, but none of the weapons Sentry now has is available for an ACOG, plus the Commando is arguably worse than the MP5K. Remember SMG-11? Arguably the best secondary in the game, at least a Sentry being stuck in a single viable loadout, because running double shotgun or M870 with the C75 Auto is somewhat suicidal. The biggest issue with this rework is that the loadouts you can get by their new quality of life, being choose two of any gadget and not one from two separate pools, is that even though this is so good, it doesn't justify the significantly worse loadouts. As the current or soon to be a recruit, depending when you watch this, was still able to access amazing loadouts, even though they were limited. Because on attack, you could run frags with stuns, smoke with stuns, claymore and smokes, with the only downside being no impact EMP, plus hard breach, or no smokes and frags together due to all four being the same pool. But the secondary pool is never worth mixing together, with them being soft breach, stuns, and claymores. And on defense, with an old crew you could still run Nitro with deployable shield, or Nitro with barbed wire, or I guess bulletproof camera. So unless you really was down bad and wanted to run impacts with Nitro or proximity alarm with Nitro, Sentry's special ability will have an identical usage to old recruit. So basically, new blood doesn't bring anything new. And the idea of a rework is to release two frankly worse operators than what's currently available. If they just released the current recruits the ability to customize their current loadouts with any add-ons, plus gave them this revamped quality of life ability, it'd be 1,000 times better than anything Striker or Sentry could and will be, and obviously allowed them into standard and ranked. But I don't know why they aren't technically available in standard. When I first started writing this, because you might be surprised, but I actually do write down my thoughts before I start talking. I was actually really excited to play Striker, because I didn't have any current memory of the current recruits after their first change, because they don't have access to the shield anymore. But when I first was writing this, I was really excited because I love the M4. I play Maverick just for the M4, but I was excited for Striker because she sounds like she'd be a very self-sufficient attack operator, with one of my favorite guns being the M4. But when I took time to play old recruits for the last 13 days left of his life, I became more and more disappointed with how the changes actually hindered the character's performance. And when I selected defense when I was playing recruits, I was dumbfounded when how I thought this change was actually good and would breathe a gust of fresh air into the soon-to-be killed operators. But even though they've finally been recruited, they've lost the best parts about them and their special identity, and still no shield on attack.
I'm rubbing peanut butter on my cock.